Ukraine, where a fresh Russian assault has killed 24 people who had been reportedly waiting for pension payments in Yarova in the Donetsk region. A video posted by President Volodymyr Zelensky showed several corpses strewn on the ground. The Interior Ministry is reporting that Moscow had used a glide bomb in the attack. The weapon has wings that help it fly dozens of kilometers. Well, it comes as Moscow continues to claim the industrial region as part of Russia, despite not having full control over it. Charlotte Lamb has more on this latest attack.
In
the village of Yarova, a military officer describes the scene. Dozens were killed Tuesday when a brutal Russian glide bomb hit, the victims queuing for their pensions. President Volodymyr Zelensky says it's the latest Russian attack to target civilians and a stark reminder that 3 years into the war, those are who remain on the front line. Russian missiles hailed down on several Ukrainian regions overnight. In Zaporizhia, strikes caused fires, damaging homes.
There's nothing left, just bare floors and bare walls. Everything burned down completely. It's a nightmare. So much money was invested here and now there's nowhere left to live.
Kherson's central district was also shelled, sparking blazes that tore through trade kiosks, destroying small businesses and livelihoods, but thankfully no reported injuries. In Russian-controlled Makivka, residents salvage what they can. The Moscow-installed head of occupied parts of Ukraine says the city was one of 2 targeted by Kyiv with heavy drones and missile attacks. Ukrainian officials have yet to comment on the strikes. What is clear is that as casualties rise and towns are reduced to rubble, peace still feels no closer.
Well, this latest attack comes just days after Ukraine's main government building was hit in Kyiv. On Sunday, the building, which houses the offices of the country's main ministers, was left damaged as Russia launched its largest wave of drones and missiles on Ukraine since the start of the war. Well, Ukrainian MP and head of inter-parliamentary relations, Lisa Yasko, joins me in the studio now. Lisa, thanks so much for coming in and coming to speak to us about the situation in Ukraine at the moment. I spoke there about that cabinet office that was hit. How do you feel knowing that buildings where you could well work and your colleagues are working is being hit by Russia?
We have attacks every day. If we don't have attacks, that's something surreal and unusual that actually is very suspicious, because usually when there are a couple of days when there are no attacks, it means that a huge attack will come. When this hit happened on the governmental building, that's very serious, because we did have some drones targeting governmental area, but there was no ballistic missiles so far that reached so massively. And the parliament is only 100 meters away from that place. My office is there. That's very scary. But I want to stress that that's not something very unusual. We live like this 24/7 for more than 3 years.
This is now the 4th summer of war in Ukraine, and we've seen, plenty of heavy fighting going on, bloody fighting. How is the country now going to approach autumn and winter, especially in the east, where there has been the heaviest fighting in the conflict so far?
I wouldn't say that the east has the heaviest, because Kyiv also have a lot of heavy attacks. Yes, in the east, maybe there are numbers that are higher, but that's not like something that we don't know war in Kyiv. Life in Kyiv is very hard. Yes, people were having some hope around August time, when there were these talks in Alaska and Washington that there could be some light in the tunnel. But it doesn't feel as it is the case anymore now. And for me personally, I can tell you that I was very skeptical, but still, as a human, I had some hope. And now when we reach September and all attacks are back massively and so badly, I feel terrible that we're entering new autumn, new winter, that there is no clarity, that geopolitical situation looks also very vague. I feel very bad about this.
Well, amid all this diplomatic flurry and these stalled talks, President Zelensky is still calling for weapons, especially as Russia is now stepping up its aerial attacks. How do you think he'll go about convincing allies to give him more resources?
I think we do have a lot of progress on this question. And actually, thanks to France, to Europe, to many European leaders, there is a huge shift in awareness in the European capitals on how much weapons production are important, not because you just send them somewhere, but because it's important for your own security, for security of Europe, and for experience in building security. And we managed to produce our weapons as well, and new technologies. This is the process that needs technological advancement every day. That's not something as you design one weapon and you can use it without any change. You have to be technologically very progressive, and we have to continue doing it, even if some magic will happen and tomorrow the war will end, which unfortunately is not going to happen this way. We have to be prepared that we have enough weapons to defend ourselves, because there are no illusions anymore.
Well, I do want to get your reaction on some of the events that we saw last week with the coalition of the willing, that summit between President Emmanuel Macron and President Zelensky, as well as other members of this coalition. They pledged security guarantees in the event that the war ends. It could include boots on the ground from several countries and other pledges. How are you feeling? Do you feel reassured by those pledges?
Yes, I do, because for the first time in all these years, I see not only solidarity, but real actions. And I would personally prefer, of course, that this coalition wouldn't be called of willing coalition, but rather than, I don't know, actions or leadership coalition. But we do know that these security guarantees are discussed widely, and European leaders are taking very important position in this leadership position. And only with this position we can actually convince United States to stay on board with all of us, because we need them for the future of our security. And I'm happy that we're not alone in this. And that we're serious about security. I always, when I'm speaking about economy, about any other questions, I always say, whether we like it or no, we cannot be talking about business or private sector or energy, whatever, if we don't talk about security. Because security will be the one that will be providing all stability for all other sectors if we want to have them.
Well, some of the members in the coalition of the willing have said that they won't move forward with the pledges without that security guarantee from the US, the US backstop. What's your message to President Donald Trump? How do you want him to act now and intervene in what could be the future of Ukraine?
My message is very simple, that all promises he gave and all prolongation and postponement of different decisions that he was given, all of that is already exhausted. So now is the time for real actions, economic sanctions, including usage of frozen Russian assets, putting more creative measures on Russian economy. For instance, having sanctions on those countries who continue trade with Russia, making everything possible that energy diversification happens and countries are not dependent on Russia. We have to do a lot about the Russian oil, and this is all possible, but it has to come from the leadership of United States. Only this will make Putin to consider it very rationally that having war is not in his favor anymore. While now he's enjoying it ideologically, he's winning a lot of narratives, he likes to show that he's very imperialistic, and he likes humiliating the West. Unfortunately, he has some success. But now is the time for Trump and other leaders in the West to make sure that this humiliation doesn't happen anymore.
Lisa, thank you so much for joining us on the program. It was really good to talk to you, and best of luck in the war. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.